the second part about the story of money and exchange rate brings some memories about my grandmother, because once I asked her, why is money worth something, and she said it's because everything is backed on gold. So all the money that we use is backed on some gold that is kept somewhere. And that was true until 150 years ago, more or less. It was called the gold-based economy. It was totally based on gold, and my grandmother was correct, but until more around 1870s. After that, it changed a lot. So this gold-based standard, or this gold-based way of valuing money, was only based on money. So it was how many um, how many tons of gold do you have divided by the amount of money that you have. So let's write an example. So maybe in the UK they had 100 tons of gold, and they had 100,000 pounds in the market, right? So that means that for every uh, for one, sorry, it will be the other way around. It will be 100 pounds, and it will be gold, right? So every pound was worth 1 gold, right? One pound per 1 gold. It was like that. So if a country wanted to become richer, they had to acquire more gold. So it was really bad for humanity, because then empires went to conquer everyone and just to steal their gold, or to find ways to become richer. And it was really a really bad time for everyone in the world. But after some time, as we became more technological, and after the Industrial Revolution, we realized that there are more efficient ways of becoming richer, rather than starting a war and conquering countries, which was becoming more attractive in terms of maybe industry, or maybe commerce, or maybe even tourism. Let me explain you this. By the end of 2 centuries ago, imagine that we had the Olympics, right? So in the Olympics, uh, everyone wanted to go, and they wanted to travel to the country where the Olympics were happening. So imagine that at this moment, the Olympics were happening in the UK. So everyone wanted to go to the UK. And let me add you more data about this. So we agreed that in this assumption, if we have 100 pounds and 100 coins of gold, each pound is worth 1 unit of gold, right? 1 pound is backed by 1 unit of gold. So imagine that for the US, it is different. They also had $100, but maybe 150 years ago, they weren't that rich, and they had only 50 coins of gold. Okay, so they had this. I'm the worst at writing. So it's 50 gold and $100. So that means that uh, you need $2 for every coin of gold, right? Or you need to have $2 to be equal as 1 gold. So if we wanted to calculate the exchange rate between dollars and pounds, it's super easy, right? Because if 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 1 pound is worth 1 coin of gold, and $2 is worth 2 coin of gold, what do you think is fair? If I want to exchange, if I want to have 1 pound, I will need to pay $2, right? Does that make sense? If 1 pound equals 1 gold and $2 equals 1 gold, that means that the exchange rate is $2 per pound. This is the exchange rate that was at that moment. But imagine that because the World Cup is happening, someone is selling pounds, right? So they say, I'm selling pounds and the price is $2 per pound. And there are so many people who want to travel to the UK to the Olympics that they will be they will be able they will be asking for so many pounds that maybe that person doesn't have enough pounds to fulfill the demand. So at some point he will need to say something, I don't have that many pounds. So what I will do is that I will rise the price. So maybe he will say, what about three? Who will pay $3 for 1 pound? It's more, right? It's more than the fair price. But anyway, people will be saying, yes, I can pay three. And maybe he raises even more until maybe five. And then at five, only enough people stays so that he could uh, deliver the amount of pounds that they need. So this is when demand feeds supply, right? So in the end, the actual price was 5 instead of 2. And the UK didn't have to conquer anyone. The only thing that they had to do was to become attractive to tourism. So they said, if we do more things like this, like if we become attractive, not only in terms of tourism, but also in production. Like imagine if we produce a car, everyone in the world will want to buy a car, and that means we will become more attractive. Or if we produce a new technology, like maybe an airplane, that means that everyone will be willing to pay more for us. So at that moment, for us it's simple, but at that moment that was like kind of mind blowing for everyone. 150 years ago, they say it doesn't really make sense to start a war if we want to become rich. Why don't we spend more money on doing research, or I don't know, doing things to become attractive, and then people will just come to us. So then this thing changed, and this thing also changed the way in which we used to think about gold and the currency. So the worth of money wasn't related to gold, but it was related to the market, demand and supply. So I will stop the video in here and I will continue in a new one.